Hey guys, what's up? This is Movie Critic Rob here with the Movie Channel, and this is my third installment of my thoughts on, which are the second viewing review series that I'm doing. We have previously done Jurassic World, and we've done Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight. So we're going to do now, rightfully so, the second biggest movie of 2015, which was Star Wars The Force Awakens, in my mind. Now, I am a sucker for all things Jurassic Park, so please forgive me to all of you Star Wars fanatics that are out there. But for me, it was Jurassic Park. But however, I thought Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, was amazing, and therefore we're going to review it today. I did a written review, I believe, on this. If not a written review, I did a video review on this movie back when it was released. And the movie is probably one of the best Abrams films I've seen. That's not to say Abrams is a bad director, because he has directed some of my favorite films. I thought Cloverfield was all right. I absolutely loved Super 8. I think a lot of people call J.J. Abrams Diet Steven Spielberg, in the sense of like a Diet Coke, because Abrams does what Spielberg did back when he was in his prime. Now Spielberg's not done, and we know he's coming out with the BFG for Disney, which I'm excited for because I've never seen Spielberg and Disney team up together, so I think it's going to be fun. But J.J. Abrams, it's clear that all of childhood was spent watching Spielberg films, and how much he is emulating Spielberg in his films, and how it kind of in his subconscious has become his style, because that feeling that you get when you're watching a Spielberg's film is the same feeling you get when you watch an Abrams film. Now, that being said, he's tackling now the long ago in a galaxy far, far away, and it does not disappoint. And the reason why I do these second viewing reviews is because, you know, when you first go into a theater, you're all hype, and, you know, you're all like, yes, let's do it. And even with Jurassic World, which was my favorite movie of 2015 and one of my favorite movies of all time, I have to, as a critic and as a fan as well, notice the missteps and talk about them, because it's healthy to do so. I can't just, you know, block myself out to, oh, this movie had no mistakes, what are you talking about? No, I can't do that. No, because that's pretty much like a troll, and those fanboys that you come across that you don't want to talk to, and that's just not fair. So Jurassic World, yes, it had faults, and Star Wars has faults, but here's the main thing about those faults. Every movie's gonna have faults, but the key of it all is that if it does not take you out of the movie-going experience, meaning if you are so enraptured by what's going on on the screen in front of you that you just forget about all of the stuff that is wrong, then it has succeeded. Now, with that being said, I think Star Wars has a lot less mistakes, because I haven't noticed any of them, than Jurassic World. And Jurassic World, I've noticed, I think it's because I've watched Jurassic World ad nauseum at this point, and I haven't watched Force Awakens that much because it just came out. But you know, even still, you know, like everybody when it came out, the people that wanted to hate on Star Wars 7, you know, they said, oh, this is just A New Hope all over again. Oh, the bigger Death Star. And they were whining and they were complaining about all of this stuff. And it really does not. Here's the thing. And I think this is what both Kat Kennedy, who's now in charge of the Lucasfilm wing of Disney, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's awesome, and J.J. Abrams were doing. This is what they were both doing. They wanted to, because of what had come before, and those were the prequels, which nobody really liked. I mean, the third one was good, but they were critically panned, and they were panned by fans of Star Wars. So from the beginning line of Star Wars Episode 7, which was, this will begin to make things right, it's kind of a backbite on the prequels, and the whole movie is there as a springboard because it knows it's going to be a trilogy, but it's not in a bad sense. It's doing basically this. It wants you to forget the prequels and how bad they were, and it wants to make you remember a better time for Star Wars, which was episodes 4, 5, and 6. And I think it does that. And I think that's why it covers a lot of the major beats of episodes 4, episodes 5, and episode 6. Not to rip the movies off, but to tell you, hey, this is a Star Wars like the classics. This is a Star Wars trilogy that's going to pay homage and also be like the old classic Star Wars films that you loved. And I think it was necessary to that fact that episode 7, The Force Awakens, take these beats from New Hope, from Empire, from Return of the Jedi, in order for us to be sold on that fact. Because a lot of people, and I remember videos were being made saying, is The Force Awakens going to be like Phantom Menace? Because you remember the hype for Phantom Menace. I was a little kid, but I keep watching all these videos of everybody that was like overhyped for Phantom Menace, and they talk about it later and they're like, we were so wrong. And so, there is an obvious fear about going into this movie, overhyping this movie, because the hype was real, and it just be completely bad. But gladly, it wasn't like that. And I loved the movie because it really felt like it took itself seriously. And even the beats, yeah, they were just plain in your face about how similar they were to the original trilogy. That didn't take me away from the movie-going experience of seeing The Force Awakens. And I think that is testament to J.J. Abrams, who in every marketing campaign that he did, every interview that he took part of, you could tell this man was weighted by the task in front of him because he knew how big a task it was. And because he wanted to respect it to that degree, it came out being the film that it came out being, which was a great success. Now, the things that I liked most about the movie, which I think were the most underutilized, I really believe were the villains, starting with General Hux. I love General Hux, especially there's a scene, and by the way, and if you clicked on this, you know that there's spoilers because I put spoilers on the title of this video. But General Hux is, next to Captain Phasma, the most underused villain in this movie. But unlike Phasma, he is the one I most want to see more of, because it's so beautiful the way that they, especially that one scene where they're about to fire off the big cannon from Starkiller Base. You get the sense of the old World War II videos of Hitler with his army, and he's delivering this speech, and he's just like all into it, and just we're gonna destroy them, but it's so beautifully done in that it echoes that history. The only other movie I know of that has echoed that visual is The Lion King, where Scar is singing the Be Prepared song, and you get the hyenas marching, and they're just marching in cadence, and your Scar is up there like declaring his way he's going to rule, and it's powerful imagery. Other than that, Hux is one of those, because you get the sense from the movie that Hux and Kylo Ren, they're kind of on an even keel. This is not like Grand Moff Tarkin and Darth Vader, where even though Darth Vader was clearly the more powerful, he had more power than Grand Moff Tarkin, he was still below Grand Moff Tarkin. And so whatever Grand Moff Tarkin said something, Darth Vader had to just suck it up and listen and do what he said. But with this one, they're both, they serve different purposes. I think it's funny. The way I could put it is like the branches of government, where the legislative and all the other branches, they have different purposes, and yet they all serve one purpose, which is the good of the country. In that sense, if I can make that comparison, General Hux and Kylo Ren are equally under Supreme Leader Snoke, but they serve very different purposes. One is kind of like the Sith line. Although yes, it's the Knights of Ren. They haven't really gone full Sith, but I think they will, and I hope they will. While the other one is the political branch of whatever Supreme Leader Snoke is doing. I loved Kylo Ren, because Kylo Ren is a representative of what Anakin Skywalker should have been in Episode 2, The Attack of the Clones. That is how you do a deep, disturbed villain, and how you can throw a tantrum, because everybody's calling Kylo Ren by now Darth Tantrum. But here's the thing. When you are that conflicted, when you are that enraged, and you don't have a suppressor, you're bound to do that. You're bound to do these kind of just rage-filled tantrums. But it makes sense, because he is fighting the dark side and the light, and you can sense that the dark side is what is overpowering the light, even though it's not till a critical point in The Force Awakens, which you all know of, that the dark side finally takes over in Kylo Ren. It was also Ben Solo. And I like that. Especially the best thing about this movie, honestly, was the scene where Han Solo dies. Spoiler alert. Because what J.J. Abrams does with light in that film, and if you've seen the movie, which I'm pretty sure all of you have, you know what I'm talking about. In the scene, and I have to go in detail because this is just so beautiful. Kylo Ren, his face is cut in half by the light, and it's half in red and half in blue. The whole time the scene is happening, it's that way. Han Solo's face is red the entire time by the light. And it is so symbolic of two things. One, it's symbolic of, Han Solo is going to get axed. And even when I was first watching the movie and I didn't know about the twist, I get this sickly feeling, because it was very reminiscent of Empire, but I'm like, this is not going to end like Empire. It's going to end worse, isn't it? Something's going to happen, and it's going to be bad. And you get that sickly sense of suspense that J.J. Abrams is able to pull off in the scene. But you have him, his face is all red, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's going to die. And then you get Kylo Ren, who is in this scene. The light is halfway down his face, blue and red, symbolic of his struggle to figure out which way is he going to go, which way is he going to decide. And it's not until he kills Han Solo and he takes a step forward, his face is engulfed by red light, and it is so symbolic of now he has made the turn. He is at the point of no return with the dark side, and he is committed to it, and he did what he needed to do to make the leap to the dark side, and now all hope is lost for him. Maybe he does get redemption, and I'm kind of hoping that they take him in a different, in a similar sense to Darth Vader, where he did get redemption at the end. Maybe, I don't know. I'm excited to see where they go with Kylo Ren, because he's such a good character, and Senator Snoke is too. We don't know much about Senator Snoke, and the theories are rampant. I was of the camp that he was Jar Jar Binks reincarnated, because Jar Jar Binks was actually Darth Plagueis in the original trilogy. But I mean, it could be anybody, and I'm really excited to see whether he is a whole new character or he's somebody who is a Force user from the past, or something there. I don't know, but I'm excited to see the future of the movie. At this point, we have seen the new Rogue One trailer, which is bridging like the series on TV Star Wars Rebels is doing, Episode 3 to Episode 4. And I don't know if that's going to play into what's coming up next in the sequential films, because these are kind of anthology films, the Rogue One and the other films, because we're going to get 2 more after. I hope it does. I hope that gives you some kind of like a hint of what's coming, even though it's set late, way in the past. But With that being said, the villains of this film are awesome. I'm really looking forward to also with Captain Phasma, what they're going to do with her, because she was such a cool looking villain. It was such a cool aesthetic, and it was kind of like, you know, like they wanted to I don't want to draw that comparison because people are going to hang me for this, but it's kind of like Boba Fett. She was kind of the Boba Fett of the new trilogy. And that's what I got from Force Awakens. But I'm hoping that, unlike Boba Fett, she gets more screen time, because she looks like she is a player and a powerful player. Excuse me, and is not overshadowed at all by Snoke or by Hux or by Kylo Ren. Sorry, don't know what in the world's going on there. Anyway, the movie is, like I said, it's a clean film, meaning that there's natural progression, and the editing of the movie, it makes it flow really, really well. Where you have some moments that it slows down, but it needs to, and I think Abrams knows just by seeing his other films that you have to have that kind of breather moment. And all of the emotional gut punches, they hit you. They even, even though you know the outcome of some of these now, having been to the theater, they still carry weight, and they still carry emotional sense to them, because they're just that good. And I think that it's credit to the writers, and also to the directing as well. It really feels like you're back in a Star Wars film, meaning it's not overly CGI'd, and you can see where Abrams is trying to make everything he can as practical as possible. He's a practical director in every sense. You can see that in the Star Trek films, and you can see that here. His lens flare, that's kind of like his, I think it was a Nostalgia Critic that said that Steven Spielberg's thing was the flashlight in the face or in the camera, and JJ is kind of in that vein, is the lens flare, but it's really not present in Star Wars, which we got one or two because, you know, it needs to be there, but they're not that present. But even still, you can sense this is an Abrams film, meaning that you get that kind of diet Spielberg sensibility to it. It's a really good film. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I like Rey, I like Finn, but I mean, everybody likes Rey and everybody likes Finn. I like, the plot of the film, although reminiscent of the original trilogy, there is purpose behind why that's the fact. And I'm looking forward to what's to come. I'm looking forward to seeing Luke Skywalker actually say something, and I'm looking forward to how he's gonna fit into the narrative, and because he's kind of like, how every movie has like a messianic figure, like, oh, they're gonna save the world. Luke Skywalker kind of did the opposite here, where he went into hiding. He's like, uh-oh, bye-bye, I'll see y'all later. And now him having to be forced back into the conflict, excuse me, I think will be interesting to see, and how reluctant he is to step back into the fray of all that's going on, and kind of see how he's going to impact the story. I'm also looking forward to Leia, and I really, really want Lando to come back into this. I really want them to get Billy D. Williams to reprise his role as Lando for something, because he was such a suave character, and I liked him in the original trilogy. I kind of hope then, when we didn't know anything about the movie, and kudos to the campaign, to the marketing campaign of Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It was awesome. It kept everything under wraps until the viewing of the film when we all went into the theater, which is how it should be. Nolan does this. Tarantino does this. Abrams does this, and they all are awesome for that, because I think that is a lost art almost. And I like that there are directors out there that care about keeping your audience engaged, but at the same time not spoiling things that should be seen in the theater when you actually go see the film. But I'm looking forward to the future of Star Wars, and I'm looking forward to just what they're going to do with these characters. I'm hoping to, like I said, get more nods and cameos or roles from old characters like Billy D. Williams. And I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. Like I think I was saying this before I kind of went off on a tangent, but back before we knew about anything about the movie, even though we were seeing trailers, but they were really shrouded in mystery, I thought that Finn was going to be Lando's kid with Leia, which would have been a nice twist. Maybe that's still a possibility. Who knows? Because we do know that they kind of weren't on good terms. Well, they kind of were, but weren't at the same time. After the death of, or after the turn of Ben Solo and the seduction of Ben Solo over by Senator Snoke. So I want to see where that goes, and I want to see if they're gonna do any more old characters. I hear Yoda might be in Episode 8, just a rumor at this point, but I think that would be a cool cameo, like a Force type thing, like they had Alex Guinness come back from the grave for that one line, and also Ewan McGregor come back during the flashback, well, flash forward of Rey after she touches the lightsaber. There's a lot of mythology there, and I like what they're doing in expanding that, and I like that it kind of feels natural. How, yeah, from the ashes of the Empire, there would be something to rise up, and how the conflict doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like, oh, they're just doing it to make another movie. It actually feels right, and it kind of feels like they're taking the Empire one step forward. And I mean that because the clones are, like, the first scene of this movie was brutal, and the clones, I was legitimately scared in the theater. I was like, oh my word, these clones are just killing people left and right, and it's awesome. All the characters are good on the good side. I love seeing, the oldies but goodies, like Leia and Chewbacca. I love Poe Dameron. I think that they should do more with Poe Dameron. Finn, Rey, all awesome characters, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do going forward. Well, this has been the second viewing review of Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and this has been with Movie Critic Rob of the Movie Channel, and I'm signing off.